All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sarah. I am the VP of Marketing here at BrainCell, and I will be playing the role of your host today for our virtual session, Accelerating Forklift and Material Handling Sales. Before we get started and I turn it over to my colleague Garrett, I just wanted to run through a few quick housekeeping items. So this will be a 30-minute presentation. We have a lot to cover in the 30 minutes, but we want to make sure that you're getting the value that you are hoping to get out of this session. So at any point, if you have questions during the presentation, please go ahead and drop them into the question box, and I will be monitoring that, and I will interject and ask them to Garrett. And then we will be recording this session, and you should see an email in your inbox likely tomorrow morning with a link to the recording as well as the slides. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Garrett, to introduce yourself and kick things off.
Thank you, Sarah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Garrett. I am the Vice President of Customer Experience here at BrainCell. It's great to be on the call today. Today, I'm going to show you a couple different ways to approach CRM, specifically in your industry, some of the things that we've learned here at BrainCell over time. Sarah, next slide, please. Just a little about BrainCell before we kick off. We're a growth enablement company. I spend most of my day talking to people like yourselves about how to properly scale and grow with better use of technology. And this happens in all sorts of ways. Sometimes I'm talking to customers with low CRM adoption. Some people have adopted CRM years ago, but their business processes have changed and they need to adapt their technology to meet those new business processes. So for a lot of the conversations that I'm having every day and a lot of the conversations that we do here at BrainCell, it's really about what are you trying to achieve with technology and then technology decisions after the fact. There are many different CRMs in the marketplace today. Today we're going to use for our presentation Trigger CRM to show you some ways to approach a proper CRM. But there are a lot of technologies in play, and the idea here is it's people and processes before technology. And so that's kind of a little bit about BrainCell that we work with here on a day-to-day basis. The agenda for today is, first we're going to talk about some of the sales challenges we've heard in your space. And then we're going to get right to it. We're going to talk about a modern approach to solving those challenges. I'm going to go through an interactive live demo so you can really visualize how we like to convey the modern approach. And then we'll show you a quick video about some of the ways we've integrated to systems that you're maybe using on a day-to-day basis without having to leave the CRM, followed by a quick Q&A. Any questions or questions that have been posted that we don't get to in our very short period of time this afternoon, we'll be sure to be following up with you on. And then Sarah's got a little bit of a special offer to talk about at the end of the call. So a little bit about the agenda, but we're short with time today. It's a 30-minute webinar. Let's get right to it. Before we do, let's go ahead and take a poll. If you wouldn't mind, are you currently using a CRM system as part of your sales process? And if you are, please vote.
So we've got about 50%, 60%, 70%. Leave it open for a couple of more.
Oh, I haven't lost everyone. That's great.
All right, let's see the results. So it looks like the majority of people are utilizing a CRM today, and it's not listed. If you want to drop into the chat what you're using for a CRM, please feel free to do that. And then we just have one more poll question to help tailor the discussion today.
Oh, the big question. How many CPQ systems do you need to access as part of your sales efforts? Getting the quotes out the door, always an interesting question.
So we're at 50%. Give it a couple more seconds. Get your votes in. All right, let's take a look at the results. So it looks like 40% utilizing 1 to 2, 40% 3 to 5, and then 20% are unsure of how many they're using throughout the day.
Yeah, of course, that all brings the conversation together that we're going to focus on today, right? It's like, how do we get our sales teams to adequately track opportunities so we have the right reporting and the analytics when they tend to potentially skip that step to get right to the CPQ to get that quote out the door? We'll show you some interesting things today. And that's going to be part of that sales challenge that we talk about on our webinar today, creating quotes in multiple systems, no consolidated pipeline view of new equipment versus used equipment versus other products, the lack of ability to automate quote approvals and discounts and getting through those internal processes to get the quotes out the door. And then finally, no single place to view the entire quote life cycle. So we're going to hone in on some of those things today. We're going to show you a way of doing it with less wasted time, less lost sales tracking, and then of course the lack of forecasting, which helps you to scale and grow. In doing all this, and again, we're going to show you a little bit more after we use Sugar CRM as our basically live demo environment. We're going to talk about a modern approach to getting through all of this, and we've got a nice presentation on that coming up after we talk about one of the key problems to start answering some of these questions. But here at BrainCell, we have a wonderful product that allows us to now integrate your entire tech stack together using what we call a modern data approach, right? And if you bring all of your tech stack together, you can accomplish multiple things. One, keeping your team all in one system without having to flip between multiple systems throughout the day to get a process done. And then, of course, BI and analytics is very important. So with this modern data approach, we'll talk about bring your own BI, Tableau, Power BI, whichever one you're comfortable with the most, and drop it on top of this approach and be able to mash all that data across multiple systems together so that you can really analyze your company's behavior, look for those blue oceans, and steer the ship. A lot of this technology approach is built on the Microsoft Fabric stack. We just did a webinar on it. I'm not going to dive too deep into Microsoft Fabric today, but if you'd like, again, you'll get a recording of this. You can scan to download and get access to that webinar. I think you'll find it very beneficial. Microsoft Fabric is very exciting to us over here at BrainCell. Okay, Sarah, so I think at this point you stop your screen sharing and I share mine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to flip over and just a quick pulse check, Sarah. You can see my screen?
I sure can.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those business challenges that you might be seeing, those sales challenges that you're living with on a day-to-day. Today, I'm going to show you how to approach that. I'm going to be using Sugar CRM as a platform, actually a very good platform that helps us really visualize where we educate here at BrainCell. The first thing with attacking this problem, these sales challenges, is to make it as fast and efficient for your user base as possible to work within the system. If you're dealing with user adoption problems, you're not getting the data, you're not getting the analytics, you're getting a lack of it, and then you start to turn towards Excel spreadsheets and things like that to solve these problems. So what I've been talking about a lot with CRM is looking at the home screen of your CRM as a way for your users to interact with the entire system without having to bounce between multiple pages within the system. Think about your home dashboard view as a way of being able to log in the morning, see everything that you need to do throughout the day, and never truly have to leave this screen. Sugar CRM does it very well. If you're using a current CRM, think about that approach. If it doesn't do it for you, we have to think about ways of manipulating it to get it to do what you, with this approach, because we found it to be really effective. Most of the CRM failures that we see is because of fast and efficiency, right? The sales reps do want to get quotes out the door, but they don't necessarily want to track all the data that we need to collect as a business to really scale and grow our company. But if we look at a CRM from a straight up dashboard view and the users are able to interact directly with one dashboard view throughout the day and not have to leave this view, we find that user adoption greatly increases because it's fast and efficient for your users, and therefore they are tracking the data that you need to really scale and grow your business. Sugar CRM does it quite honestly very, very well. Here you can see sales rep dashboard. Again, I'm just using a demo database, and you can see it's all set up to track certain things that the user may want to track out of the gate, right? I've got leads to follow up on. I've got active quotes coming out the door. I've got active opportunities as well. If I'm using Gmail or if I'm using Outlook, I want to be able to see my calendar. I want to still be able to use Outlook if I'm very big on Outlook calendar, but I still want to be able to collect that data back in the CRM. So email integration to CRM is very important. And then a whole host of other metrics that the user might want to see on a daily basis. If you think about this dashboard view, this may be everything that your users need to see during the day. And set up properly, what you can find is that the user may log in the morning, look at, say, certain leads that they need to follow up on, go ahead and drill into those records without leaving the dashboard, get to all the data that they need to see, place their call, write their email, what have you, and then just basically move on to their next lead. You'll notice I'm not searching in the CRM anymore. I'm not drilling into this navigation bar, which is more of a traditional way of getting around the system. I'm simply just logging into the system, and the system's telling me, you have this opportunity to follow up on this CAT forklift. So I'm going to drill into that. I'm going to say, okay, what was the last thing that we talked about with them? Let's look at maybe past purchase history from our ERP system. We'll talk about that with the modern data approach. Let me get to the account record. Let me get to the products and services we're talking about, the contacts that we're talking about. Let's drill into all this information without having to flip through multiple screens. And if I do it this way, what you're going to find is that the users can get around the system much faster. And then when it comes to simple things like adding a phone call, you've got quick action buttons to be able to do that. So with a CRM like Sugar, what you're going to find is that I can present all the data that the salesman needs to run their day, and then they have options on how they want to drill into that data. Maybe I want to go directly to the account record. Maybe I want to look at past opportunities. Maybe I want to look for a different contact, maybe not associated, or the last time anybody spoke to that company. I have access to all that information. With the proper integration, of course, I also have access to all that ERP data, that purchase history, the sales, the invoices, the invoice line items, and so on and so forth. And I have it with just clicking a few buttons to drill into that data. So I definitely recommend that when you think about how you approach CRM, first things first, if your processes have changed and the system was designed in a way 5 years ago that no longer match those processes, it's time to reevaluate those processes. But the second thing is how do we present the data to the user so we get that user adoption up? And I would argue in something like Sugar CRM, getting into focus drawer history, being able to drill into that data without having to search is a great way of starting that conversation and drilling into all that data. Here you can see I can edit the information on the fly. These are completely customizable to the environment and what you're looking to achieve, right? So although I'm showing you active opportunities and lead follow-up, this is obviously going to be specific to your use case and how you need to drill into that data. Make sure your dashboards are drillable too. Some of the legacy CRMs are presenting data to you in a graphical way, but they're not allowing you to interact with that data. Make sure you have the ability to get into that data so you can see the information that you need to see and then simply just move on. But if you look at the way this system is actually placed, there are other benefits to new CRMs that allow us to quickly and easily allow us to track information. Amanda Elliott is a great example. She's a lead in our system. She contacted us. We've left 3 voicemails now. We're going to give her another shot. So we're going to click that mobile button. This is going to dial out our phone system. She's going to go to voicemail again. And what we found is that for most lead follow-ups, we're going to voicemail. So we're going to create little action buttons at the top of the screen that allow us to quickly just tag that I left a voicemail. That in itself, when you're making multiple voicemails throughout the day, could save a typical user an hour of time. And that's an hour more time that they can be spending researching, prospecting, closing deals. And so think about ways that your CRM can do these types of things, like quickly schedule a meeting or send out an email. This will go directly through my Outlook, though I think I closed it down, so it's going to jump a little bit. Think about ways you might want to approach making it more fast and efficient for your users. And then what you're going to see is you're going to see that data getting much more sophisticated inside of your system. Most of our customers here at BrainCell have tight integration with their CRM from their marketing team. So when you think about the overall picture of your tech stack, is your marketing automation platform connected to your CRM? Why would you want to do that? Well, simple things like having lead forms on your website and making sure that that lead is sent properly to the sales rep as quickly as possible so they can line up a follow-up call, get deeper specs, start that quoting process, start that opportunity tracking process. Think about how your marketing department may or may not be connected to your sales team and how we can further improve that. Sugar's got a great tool, Sugar Market, that allows us to do it here at BrainCell, and we found a lot of success with that as well on the CRM platform. Velocity wins the day, right? So the faster that I can get my team in touch with somebody who's interested, looking at my website, wants to look at something in used inventory, wants to look at a used forklift. In this day and age, if we're lagging in response time, those potential customers are simply just finding other websites and they're moving on. And that leads us to a CRM with really tight business process definitions. And by that, I mean automation, right? So this is a great example here in this platform of new leads being created in the system, being routed to the right people in the right territories, notifying that sales rep that someone is interested in buying from our company, and then of course oversight, making sure that that salesman is, or a salesperson is properly following up with those leads at the right time, and if not, routing those prospects to different sales reps who may have the bandwidth to follow up with those new potential customers and getting those deals out the door. So if I'm automating, if I'm connected to my website, if I'm looking at my home dashboard as this is the way the salesman is going to work throughout the day, I'm off to a really good start with not only capturing data, but getting out my quotes in a velocity type of way that will inherently create more business and close more deals. So how do we do all that? Well, let's just think about creating a new lead. And I'll start with a brand new lead so I can, and I'll use my buddy here from Walmart. And just to save us time, I'm going to use a lot of copy and pasting here. So Gonzalo has reached out to our company. He's shown an interest in a product that we're offering. I'm going to drop his information in real quick. When you look at these forms, this Sugar CRM form, for example, most CRMs should have customizable form capability. If it doesn't, it's definitely something that you want to think about. Some of the fields on this form, you're simply probably never going to use, but this system quickly adapts to change to fit exactly what you're looking to track. Okay, so I've got this new lead in the system here. My sales rep's been notified. Maybe it's come in from our website. As a sales rep, I can see my complete marketing campaign history. What were we emailing them about? What campaigns was he involved in? If I need to send out a specific marketing material created by the marketing team, I can do all that. Again, I've got these quick action buttons to make it very simple for the user to interact with these records. And I should be thinking about business intelligence in this day and age. And that's where in the Sugar platform, Sugar Hint comes into play. So what Sugar has done now on the right side panel as it's gone online, it's pulled as much information about Gonzalo as it can find, including information about the company he works for. Now I'm going to take this information, I'm going to get a little pre-read in here. I'm going to look out on the news feeds and see what information I might be able to learn about why he's engaging with us. And I'm also going to click a little button and I'm going to just complete that record, right? Because incomplete records in CRM don't do us any good. So again, all Sugar did was it went online. It looked on the internet for as much information as it could find about Gonzalo and the company that he works for, and it presented it to the user so that he doesn't have to have 8, 9 different pages open, LinkedIn, Zoom info, all these different things. He can actually look and start completing a lot of this record directly from within the Sugar platform. He's all staying in the same place. Once I have this lead qualified Maybe he's not, maybe he stays here for marketing purposes in the future. Then I'm going to go ahead and just convert him over to an opportunity. And I'm going to start tracking my products and services. For the purposes of time today, we'll just go ahead and just jump into one of our opportunities. Maybe we'll go back to the home dashboard real quick and just grab our cat opportunity here. And now all of a sudden, we're tracking the opportunity, the products and services that we're offering. It's all available to us here, the contacts that we're working with over there at that company. And I can start pulling all this information together for the purposes of generating a quote. As I dive into the quote record, I should be able to talk about discounting and all that. But the problem with getting into the quotes, and this is where we'll show the video in a minute, is working with the multiple CPQs, working with LiftNet, and trying to stay inside of the CRM. So we're going to show you that in a minute first, but there's one more thing I probably should show you. And I'm going to go ahead and just jump right to the quote record to show you that. And that goes back to automating your processes to get the quote out the door. What we found in a lot of cases was that there is a process to getting a quote out the door. Maybe you have a team dedicated to utilizing the CPQ tools to get the right quote filled out for the sales rep. Maybe you have discount management approval processes that have to take place. So as the sales rep is generating this quote record in the CRM, he's putting the products and services in, he needs a way of quickly and easily notifying other parts of the business that he needs this quote finalized, that he needs management approval. And that's where these smart guides come in, specifically with Sugar CRM. Other CRMs do it differently with trees and branch terminology. It's all really the same thing. So now all of a sudden I've got my quote, it's coming from my product catalog, and I'm ready to get it verified and adequately quoted so I can get it out to the customer. So I generate a smart guide. The first notification goes out to the credit department. They give us the thumbs up. The second process might notify the CPQ team for them to go into the CPQ tool and fill in the blanks and finalize that quote. Maybe warehouse needs to double check that the inventory is accurate. And then finally, maybe management needs to double check that the discounts are going to be approved, that we're not doing anything out of scope. So by utilizing quick guides, we're all in lockstep. We're ensuring that no step is missed during the process, and we're using it to notify people within the system that, hey, you got to go to this record, you got to fill out this step. Management needs an approval on the discount that the sales rep is offering. All to, of course, finally come back to the sales rep and notify them that, hey, your quote is ready to review, you can get it out the door. And in a tool like Sugar CRM, if you want to go ahead and utilize things like DocuSign and get that quote out to paper, you have the ability to do that as well. It's all built into the system. Why are we doing all this? We're doing all this for analytics, right? If we can follow those simple processes, we can start tracking trends on products, year over year, velocity, are our opportunities slowing down or are they speeding up? Break it down by products and services. We're finding a 90-day opportunity process now on forklifts, new, but only a 60-day on used. Those are the types of analytics that really help us draw our day, and all the users have to do is just go into a home dashboard and work within the system to track some data so we can start tracking these types of trends. Here we have some win rates across different territories and divisions, average deal sizes going up and going down. These are some of the things that you want to be thinking about when utilizing a CRM. Are we going to get this type of value by having the users input that information? And again, being able to drill into this data, all this data is drillable to you, to the managers, to the reps, anybody who has access to the reporting. Okay, so I went through a traditional process of getting a quote out the door within the CRM, but I want to take a minute here and I'm going to pause my screen. Sarah, you're going to take over and we're going to show you a quick video on how we've surfaced other systems inside of CRM like Sugar so that the users don't have to jump between multiple systems to get into the to get these quotes out the door. So Sarah, you still there?
I am.
So what I'm going to show is the LiftNet integration that we created. And I'm going to show this in Sugar CRM, but we built it in a way that it can work with any of the traditional CRM, Sugar, Dynamics, Salesforce, HubSpot, etc. So the integration can be implemented with any of the CRM tools. But what you're looking at here is I'm looking at my quotes. In Sugar, you can display your quotes as a list and you can search and go through it. But what you're going to see is we've taken the out-of-box experience for quotes and we've made that very seamless in the way it works with LiftNet. So here I'm looking at a Mitsubishi quote. Customer's actually ready to buy and just wants me to update and add a few accessories to it. And so I can pick up the quote that I've already created. What's also nice with the integration is you can mix. So new equipment that you're quoting off of LiftNet along with other offerings like contract maintenance, safety training, any sort of accessories, et cetera, that maybe you aren't ordering directly from LiftNet. So you can have this mixed quote. You can also have the product catalog in the CRM that also includes those additional items that, again, you can't quote through LiftNet. But what I'm going to do is I want to open up the LiftNet quote. So I'm just going to click on the little action button here, and you'll see one of my options is to launch LiftNet. I can also print the quote or pull down the worksheet if I want to, work and manipulate it in a worksheet format. But when I click on this, what you're going to see is it's going to launch LiftNet. It's actually calling that quote up in the configuration. It's then going to load it and give me the traditional LiftNet editing experience that everybody's probably familiar with. It does take just a second to pull that up. What you're going to see is it then pops up a window. I'm a demo user, so I may get a license prompt here in just a second. There it is. Obviously, you as a user won't get that if you're fully licensed. I'm in a demo instance. But what I can do now is the experience we probably all know. I can go in and do an edit on my actual configuration. And that opens up right inside LiftNet. Notice it's in a full window, so I can do everything I do in LiftNet. But now I can, when I finish this and actually save it after I make my changes, I just hit the save and close. And that will then save that configuration. So it's saving it off behind the scenes. It's pushing that information back into Sugar CRM. So if the dollar amounts and things like that had changed, we would see that actually push through. But again, the experience is meant to be quite seamless so that as a user, you can build these quotes quickly. You can go through the variations. And as you can see now, it's back inside Sugar and the pricing has actually been updated. And pushed everything through, and I've got all the information here in terms of the line items. The important line items that were up in LiftNet are contained in the descriptions and kind of the details here. So we've tried to make it very simple and very straightforward. This quote gets updated, the opportunity associated with it will also update, and then the user can work through their list of quotes, even do follow-ups inside the CRM, and finally, in this case, we've even added a request approval. So if it does need some form of management approval based upon discounts, things like that, you can request it. So that is a very quick overview of the LiftNet integration that we've created here at BrainCell.
Hope you all found that enjoyable. That was really to conceptualize the idea that users should be working within the CRM and they shouldn't have to leave it. And so by surfacing data from a tool like LiftNet and allowing the users to stay within the CRM experience, we can get a lot more productivity up. We can do things faster. We can keep them from switching between multiple different products that they may be using today just to get a quote out the door. Because again, getting the quote out the door faster, that velocity is what's telling us making companies such as yourselves win the day. So with that being said, I'll open it up for a little Q&A. Anything in the chat window today, sir?
It does not look like we have not received any questions, but this is a good time to remind folks we're running, we have about a minute left. But if you have questions, go ahead and drop them into the question box, and we'll follow up with you after. And then just to wrap up, we wanted to offer all attendees today a sales optimization audit. So reflecting back on what Garrett showed us today, scheduling some one-on-one time with Garrett where we can take a look at what you're currently using for technologies, what your processes are, and identify any opportunities to leverage automation, as well as data for optimization and scale, and then documenting any recommended next steps. So if you're interested in scheduling that, you can email marketing@brainsell, BRAINSELL.com. Zach, our colleague, will also be following up with you after this. So if you have interest in scheduling, he can help facilitate getting that on the calendar for you. And I'm just looking.
These 30 minutes always go very fast. Really appreciate you joining on today's webinar. If you have other questions about how to properly, maybe potentially rethink your CRM, or if your CRM is limiting you on growth based on what some of the topics we were talking today, please reach out to me at any time. Happy to have that call.
Yeah, and it looks like we did have some last minute questions come in, so we'll follow up with all of you. But thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate it, and have a great rest of your week.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Take care.